Well, it's a bit of a back to basics approach, with Real Madrid. Going from Xabi Alonso, trying to build this system, this identity, I guess you can say, to going back to a manager in the ilk of Carlo Ancelotti, Zinedine Zidane, although obviously someone who's nowhere near as experienced when it comes to winning things at the highest level, because he hasn't really had that opportunity to demonstrate it, but it's someone that knows the club, knows how to win with Real Madrid, and has been around teams that have gotten the best out of individual quality, and it looks like they've just reverted to type. The whole Xabi Alonso thing felt so pointless to me. It felt like a sacking was on the cards anyway, just because I feel like it was always going to be about winning as opposed to the system and the philosophy. And what Xabi Alonso was brought in to do was never going to be quick, it was never going to be instant, it was always going to be systematic. But whatever, Madrid going back to type, and we saw this in the 6-1 victory over Monaco. And Monaco were dreadful, by the way. I'm going to point that out. So Real Madrid 6-1, it flatters them greatly because Monaco was so bad. But it's just showing what they're looking to do and what Arbeloa is looking to do with this team and the improvement he's looking to make in terms of individual aspects as opposed to a philosophy, as opposed to a team, as opposed to something that's being built. This is going to be instant. It's going to be an attempt to improve in the league this season, win the league, and get as close as they can to Champions League, getting the best out of the individual quality that exists within the squad, which is plentiful, as it always is with Real Madrid. And there's a few things we can start off with, and the first thing we're going to do is look at this right-hand side rotation, and that will be with Valverde, Gula, Mastantuono in that little wide triangle, and their interplay and their exchange of positions and fluidity was dynamite from Real Madrid all game. And there's a bit of balance to that right-hand side, which we didn't really see under Alonso. We never really settled on that right side. And with these three players, they're three players who sort of want to take up similar positions on the football pitch. Valverde playing at right back because of necessity. Gula, who's been Real Madrid's most improved player this season. And Mastantuono, who's a young star. So how do you fit them all in when they both want to occupy the same sort of position? Well, you allow a lot of fluidity and you allow a lot of freedom in terms of the interchange of positions. So this is how they're starting off from a throw-in for Real Madrid. And it goes into Gula, and as you can see from his position, he's gone forward, Valverde. And as a result, Mastantuono has already made the movement back from his right-wing position into a sort of right-back position with Gula sort of in the half-space but coming over to assist him. Play goes on, ball goes back to Mastantuono, and as you can see, Gula's making his movement from his right half-space deeper, to assist Mastantuono, dropping into a position that then allows him to push further up the field. Valverde holding width on the right-hand side. Ball goes to the centre-back. Gula's dropped in, looking to receive it, and now he's taken up a right-back position. Valverde taking up the right-wing position, and Mastantuono making his movement from right-back position into the right attacking midfielder position. So all three of them have gone in and out of about 2 or 3 different positions to get to this point, and this is where the attack's going to overdrive and get into a more promising situation. So that ball from Gula goes in to Valverde, who's in this position, and he then looks to play this pass in behind the defensive line to Mastantuono, who's made a run from the centre of the pitch. He sort of curved it into out as well to get on the end of it. And Monaco aren't really picking anyone up because there's been a quick change of position, so it's a case of who's marking who. Nobody's really quite sure. So Mastantuono's been able to ghost into that position in that half space from his right wing position, and the left back's got to deal with Valverde, who's overlapped. The winger can't track him as well because of Gula dropping into that position, so it's a mix of players sort of not being sure who to pick up because they're watching their man move into a position. They've got to adapt to another man moving into the position that was vacated, and it's brilliant from Real Madrid, real quality play. The ball from Valverde into Mastantuono's run is excellent. And as you can see here, Mastantuono then picks it up in this position, turning back inside on his left foot. And as you can see, Valverde making a movement from right back into the half space. Now, because Mastantuono's pulled a little bit wider with his run, receiving it in the half space that Mastantuono's just vacated. That ball then goes in from Mastantuono into Valverde, who's got space because, again, nobody's sure who's tracking who. It's a bit all over the place. Jude Bellingham's made a movement as well from his free role in the attacking midfield position to drag markers away. So it means that Valverde can receive the ball in space, and when he does, he can then turn and play a pass to Mbappe, who's just ghosted into a lovely position. While there's all the chaos around him, Monaco are distracted by all the rotations and the movement on that right-hand side, and Mbappe picks it up and he slots it beautifully into the near post. An excellent finish, one that we've come to expect from him. And while that's really good football and it's fluid and it's nice to watch, it is built around the individuals in it as opposed to the system. Just little differences, little bits of nuance between Alvaro Arbeloa and Xabi Alonso. You see it as well on this. One of the biggest issues that Xabi Alonso had was Vinny Jr. and Mbappe, specifically more Vinny Jr. Mbappe became undroppable, and Vinny Jr. had to play a more reserved role, a bit more of a team player role, which didn't work. Clearly wasn't a great relationship between Vinny and Xabi Alonso, and so that's become an issue. But Alvaro Arbeloa, again, is tweaking it to get the best out of both. I think one thing we've learned from Vinny Jr. over the last 18 months to 2 years is he's not going to be an Mbappe in the sense of dropping into positions, linking up with his teammates. He is a goal threat and doesn't offer a great deal as it. And to be fair, I say that while some of his switches in this game were unbelievable, real high quality, he is a final third player. He's effective in the final third. You don't want him dropping into pockets, which Mbappe can do, and it's highlighted here. So as you can see, Camavinga's making the movement from his left-back position. Vinny Jr. has come inside into this position here, dragging his full-back in narrow, central in that inside left channel, which he's made his name and playing brilliantly in. And look what happens as Camavinga comes up the pitch. Mbappe, who was in this position here alongside Vinny Jr., almost like a strike partnership, I've seen that there's a vacant bit of space in the middle of the park. He knows Vinny Jr.'s not going to drop in that. He knows Vinny Jr.'s going to occupy that back line and take up the role as a sort of inside left forward or striker, central striker, depending on the phase of play and where the ball is at that point in time. So he's made his movement from there to look to receive the ball as Camavinga's given it, which means Mbappe can now use his quality. He can turn inside and Vinny Jr.'s now occupying and he can make movements in behind this defensive line. There's gaps everywhere. So the threat is with Vinny Jr. and how he can get in behind, and Mbappe with the ball at his feet has got enough quality to beat any man at any position, at any angle. His touch and his acceleration is second to none in world football. And this didn't come to anything, but I'm just highlighting the dynamics between that left-hand side with Mbappe and Vinny Jr. and their relationship, and Camavinga being an overlapper to assist them to hold the width when they come inside. So it's less system, it's more relationships, and that's a key point. And this as well, Alvaro Arbeloa is going to be looking to get some great performances out of this guy. I'm just going to highlight him. Dean Huijsen, tremendous talent, highlighted it in this game excellently. So as you can see here, Madrid are in a 3-2 with Camavinga tucking in to sort of form a lopsided back three, and Gula and Tchouaméni as the pivots. And Huijsen's picking the ball up. There's a vacant space now in that left channel for him to move forward in. If I just highlight it here, because of the space that's been vacated by Real Madrid, they've come over to the right side, so there's a gap between the attacking midfield press and defensive shape in that Monaco team, between the attack mid and the right winger. So there's space to move to, and does Huijsen have the capability and the athleticism to deal with that? Of course he does. Charges forward. That long, powerful stride from Huijsen is moving high up into the opponent's shape. He's bypassed that initial line of press, and look, from this position, he can cause all sorts of problems. So there's this easy pass into Vinny Jr., and he can then drive at his fullback one-on-one. Because of that bypass press, there's not a player that can cover over, because they've got to react to the aggressive run of Huijsen. Also, I think that's Teze in the middle of the park here. He's sort of half coming over, half leaving Bellingham in space, and if Huijsen looks up and looks inside, with the quality he has, he can more than capably find that pass into Bellingham's feet. And Bellingham's now in the final third with the runners in front of him that he can use to find and create moments of magic in that final third for Real Madrid. So carries it forward. He does end up taking it real deep into the opponent's half and plays that pass to Vinny, who can now drive into this area here, which is the Vinny zone in this position. As I say, not coming deep to receive the ball, not coming into a position that he isn't going to cause danger from, and that's come from Huijsen taking so many players out of the game, and Vinny can drive at his fullback one-on-one, and thus Real Madrid can create a dangerous attack from there. So lovely little bits of quality and lovely little bits of nuance from this team in possession. I've said it a few times before, but I'll just reiterate. It's not about a system, it's about the individuals, and that is always what Real Madrid has been about. How do you get the best out of the quality that you've got at your disposal while trying to create a level of balance? And Alvaro Arbeloa has shown that he has that knack to do so. Obviously, he's got to sustain it over a longer period of time, and many teams won't make it as easy as Monaco did. So this is Real Madrid. This is always what I think of when it comes to Real Madrid. They're not going to press high. You're not going to see Mbappe and Vinny Jr. looking to force turnovers in that final third. As you can see, they're in line with each other. They're not pressing. They're not really a part of this. They're not blocking passing lanes. You're never going to be a high-pressing team with Vinny Jr. and Mbappe leading the line for you, are you? So Vinny isn't blocking a passing lane into the midfield. Mbappe isn't ready to go and sprint and close down the centre-backs if they receive it. But you can clearly see the lines, the back four, decently high up the pitch with Asensio and Huijsen. They've got two very athletic centre-backs, so they can leave a little bit of space in behind. You see Bellingham in the middle there, but Bellingham's more often not on the left-hand side of this midfield four, and not so much in the centre, because I don't think he's got the overall discipline that a Gula or a Tchouaméni has to protect that centre area. Usually he finds himself on the left. It's just certain attacking patterns have brought him to this position. And I'll just highlight it here. Again, Mbappe and Vinny Jr. not contributing to the defensive side of things. Bellingham, now from the left-hand side, has come inside. As you can see, the centre midfielders are a little bit disconnected because they're caught trying to mark the man, as well as keep a good zonal presence, as well with the wingers tucking in to just try and plug gaps of anything that becomes exposed through the midfielders going to press the ball and try and win the ball in these certain scenarios. Ceballos cuts out the pass brilliantly, and now this is the effect of having Vinny Jr. and Mbappe as your front two. Is look at Mbappe with all the space he's got, look at Vinny Jr. with all the space he's got. They've got one thought in their mind: they're not coming deep to receive the ball. Mbappe's got so much space in between the two centre-backs, and with that then allows Vinny Jr. to make this run outside and attack the width while Mbappe's taking the centre area. Transitionally, there's not a greater threat in world football. And that pass then gets found to Vinny Jr., who's now got a lot of the left-hand side to attack because the centre-backs come in narrow to Mbappe. And Vinny Jr. is now in business, one of the best transitional players in the world. Comes down the left-hand side, plays across into the area. Mbappe in the centre, you've got Arbeloa making a movement from midfield. It ends up in the back of the net through Thilo Kehrer, a real bad own goal, but it's just showing what's happening with this Madrid shape. They're not trying to press high, they're sitting in their mid to low block with Vinny Jr. and Mbappe stuck upfield, so that when they regain the ball, their counter-attack transition is on, and they're causing all sorts of issues. Threat levels of the athleticism and the pace that they've got is causing serious issues in that Monaco defence, to the point where Thilo Kehrer just passed it into his own net, and that just comes from that threat level because it's just forcing opponents to panic. And this is even half with a high press, and it just shows some of the defensive-minded quality they've got in this squad. So again, as I was pointing out, Mbappe and Vinny Jr., they're there, they're half standing in defensive positions to maybe make sure it's not a completely easy pass in the centre, but they're not interested in closing those players down. They're conserving their energy for when Real Madrid win the ball back. And because there's three in the back line, you've seen Arbeloa come up from his right centre midfield position to just try and plug that centre and maybe put half a press on, just to try and see if he can win the ball back if a misplaced pass is there. But to be fair, the Real Madrid midfield has adapted brilliantly. There's Ceballos in the centre here, as you can see, and there's Bellingham coming in narrow, and there's Mastantuono coming in narrow. So the middle isn't exposed, it's leaving the space in the wide areas, but that's not the threat level. You want to try and block the centre off and then expand to the wide areas when it comes over there. So they're all in a really good position to get close to the players in midfield. If they receive the ball, they can squeeze them, they can close them down, be aggressive and win the ball back. The ball goes in here, and now look at these two players, a wall of four around them, and there's very little they can do to play with. They do manage to find a pass, however, Monaco, through this midfield four, even though it is congested, even though the spaces are tight and there's very little area to play through. But I'm just going to point out one man again. Dean Huijsen is reading that situation brilliantly. He knows that the only player on the ball that can find if a passing angle opens up is this guy. So just look at his stance. He's ready to jump. He's ready to close him down. And that pass from the player on the ball does look to go in, splitting between Ceballos and Jude Bellingham. Huijsen reads it expertly. His reading of the game and his ability to be a front-footed centre-back is excellent. If he can improve his ability in the air, he's going to be the total package centre-back. Reads it excellently, nicks the ball, carries the ball, plays it forward, and now look. One pass into Mbappe, and look at what Vinny Jr. is doing. Mbappe's dropped deep to get on the ball from Huijsen as he's won the ball, and this leaves Vinny Jr. to do what Vinny Jr. does best and attack the space in behind. Excellent work, clinical, easy, and Madrid won 6-1. It could have easily been about 10-1 because of how much space Monaco consistently gave up and how many times they gave the ball away, playing stupidly through the centre of the pitch, which is exactly what Real Madrid wanted. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. In a bit, lads.